Welcome to part 2 of our series on anger management. In part 1, we covered the basics of what anger is and some initial techniques to manage it effectively. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, I highly recommend checking it out for a solid foundation. Let's get started. Controlled breathing. Focusing on and slowing down your breathing can be a simple yet effective technique for relaxation, especially for those who feel dizzy or lightheaded when stressed. Rapid breathing often accompanies distress, creating a cycle of discomfort. Controlled breathing exercises can help break this cycle, calming both the mind and body. Remember, you can use this exercise to help you relax at any time. You could even use it to help you get off to sleep. However, it is particularly useful if you ever feel lightheaded, dizzy or faint. Beginning, get into a comfortable position. Middle, work out a stable breathing rhythm. Perhaps try to breathe in for 3 seconds, hold this breath for 2 seconds, and then breathe out for 3 seconds. It can be helpful to count as you do this in 1 to 3, hold 1 to out 1 to 3, hold 1 2. Ending, repeat this action for a few minutes. You should soon begin to feel more relaxed. If you were feeling dizzy, then this should also get better after a few minutes. Before we go ahead, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon so you'll be notified. Muscular relaxation. When we feel upset or stressed, tension often builds up, leading to physical discomfort and anxiety. Muscular relaxation exercises can help alleviate these symptoms by reducing tension and promoting relaxation. This involves tensing and then relaxing different muscles while focusing on the sensations. With practice, you'll better recognize and manage the onset of tension. Here are some suggestions of muscle groups that you may wish to work through. Legs, point your toes and tense your muscles as if you were trying to stand up. Stomach, tense your stomach muscles. Arms, make fists and tense your muscles as if you were trying to lift something. Shoulders, shrug your shoulders. Lift them up towards your ears. Face, make a frowning expression. Squeeze your eyes shut and screw up your nose. Clench your teeth. It can be helpful to spend a few minutes just lying quietly in a relaxed state. See if you can notice any tension in your body and try to relax it. Otherwise, just let the tension be. If your mind wanders, try to bring your concentration back to your breathing. Finally, count down silently and slowly 5 4 3 2 1 0 and come out of the relaxation in your own time. See if it's possible to carry that relaxed feeling into whatever you do next. Distraction is a good technique to fend off symptoms of anxiety and stress when they feel overwhelming. This can also give you space to deal with a situation in a more considered and positive manner. It is also helpful when you don't have the space or time to use a more proactive approach, such as a relaxation exercise. Distraction simply involves trying to take your mind off uncomfortable symptoms or thoughts. You can do this by trying to focus on something unrelated. Often this helps them to pass. It is still important to remember that the symptoms of anxiety are not harmful or dangerous. Ideas to help distract you from your troubling thoughts or anxiety include: try to appreciate small details in your surroundings. Count backwards from 1000 in multiples of 7. Focus on your breathing, for example, how it feels to breathe in and out. Count things that you can see that begin with a particular letter. Visualize being in a pleasant, safe and comfortable environment. Listen to your favorite music. Try to pick out all the different instruments and sounds that you can hear. Problem solving. You might find it more difficult to cope if you have lots of problems that you can't seem to get on top of. This can have a clear impact on our stress levels and mood. Struggling with unresolved problems can often make us feel worse. We can end up worrying or ruminating over our problems without finding a way to resolve them. This can make us feel even more upset and can end up interfering with our sleep. It can help to develop a structured way of working through a problem. Beginning to overcome some of your problems might help you to feel better. Identify your problem. The first thing to ask yourself is, what is the problem? Try to be as specific as possible. For example, I owe £400 to my friend. I am going to miss this deadline. Come up with possible solutions. Try to list every way that you can think to overcome your problem. Don't worry about how unrealistic an idea seems. Write down anything and everything. The best solutions are likely to be the ones you think of yourself. This is because nobody really knows your situation as well as you do. It may help to consider how you might have solved similar problems in the past, what your friends or family would advise, how you would like to see yourself tackling the problem. Choose a solution. Next, you need to select the best solution from your list. Think carefully about each option. It is useful to go through all the reasons for and against each idea. This will help you to make a good decision and select the best solution. After this, you may find that you are still unsure. Perhaps a couple of approaches seem equally good. Try to pick one to begin with. If it doesn't work, then you can always go back and try out a different one later. Break down your solution. To help you carry out your chosen solution, it can be useful to break it down into smaller steps. This can make it easier and more manageable to follow through. The number of steps required will vary depending on the solution and how complex it is. For example, someone with debt may have decided to try and resolve their problem by getting a part-time job. This would require several steps. 1. Buying a newspaper with job adverts. 2. Choosing which jobs to apply for. 3. Creating a CV. 4. Sending out their CV. 5. Buying interview clothes. 6. Preparing answers to potential interview questions. Try out your solution and review the outcome. Follow the steps required to carry out your solution. Simply take them one at a time. Go at your own pace and don't allow yourself to feel too rushed. Once you have completed all the steps, you should then review the outcome. If you have successfully resolved your problem, then great. If the problem still exists, then don't give up. Is there another solution on your list that you could try? Is there a different solution that you have yet to consider? Can you ask someone else if they have any ideas or advice? Can you combine any of your solutions? Looking after yourself. Adopting a healthy lifestyle can significantly reduce stress and improve mood, while unhealthy habits may harm your well-being. Overcoming bad habits can be challenging, but focusing on the benefits of positive change can boost your motivation. Alcohol can affect your ability to cope with anger or anxiety, disrupt your mood, and reduce sleep quality. While it might seem to help with sleep, it can actually cause disruptions as your body processes it. Some use alcohol to numb problems, but this can worsen issues and lead to addiction. Avoid caffeine can mimic anxiety symptoms and reduce sleep quality. Avoid caffeine within 4 hours of bedtime, as it's found in coffee, tea, hot chocolate, energy drinks, and some fizzy drinks. Many drugs act as sedatives or stimulants, affecting sleep and mood. Some use them to escape problems, but this can worsen the situation and lead to addiction. Smoking. Cigarette smoke and nicotine replacements are stimulants that can affect sleep and mood. While some believe smoking helps with stress, it negatively impacts long-term health. Relationships. Social network. Good relationships and support from friends and family can help us cope better and solve problems faster. Talking through difficulties with friends, especially those with similar experiences, can be very helpful. Healthy eating. Your diet can greatly affect your mood, sleep, and physical health. Aim for a balanced, nutritious diet, eat regular meals, and stay hydrated. Avoid unhealthy foods high in fat or sugar, and be mindful of what you consume close to bedtime, as caffeine, alcohol, or a large meal can disrupt sleep. Exercise. Staying active can boost your physical health, mood, and problem-solving abilities. Aim for gentle exercise weekly, like walking, gardening, or playing sports. While exercise aids sleep, avoid intense activity close to bedtime as it may keep you awake. Routine. Maintaining a consistent routine can provide structure to your life. Your body adapts to routines, like unwinding before bed and waking up at the same time. Surroundings. Pay attention to how your environment affects your mood, including noise, temperature, and light. Comfort and tidiness can influence your mood, sleep, and problem-solving ability. Take steps to address any issues. Communication. Clear communication allows you to express yourself and get your message across to others. Careful and engaged listening also helps you to understand what other people have to say. Good communication can help you to feel better understood. You may also see an improvement in your relationships. Listening to others. Listen carefully to what others have to say. Don't get distracted. Try to avoid assumptions and misunderstandings. You could do this by repeating back or paraphrasing what was said. Check whether you have understood correctly. Don't jump to conclusions or try to mind read. Ask questions if you are unsure. Try to understand the meaning and emotions expressed by the other person. It can be helpful to know why they are saying something to you. Expressing yourself. Think about what you mean to say before saying it. Also, consider what others might take from your comments. Try to be as clear as possible. Don't immediately get defensive or fight back. Try to understand more about what the other person feels and why they have said what they said. Express your own emotions in an appropriate and considered way. Avoid using an angry or confrontational style. Otherwise, this may cause the other person to react in fear, hurt, or frustration. Styles of communication. There are a range of communication styles that different people use at different times. Some are more effective and appropriate than others, depending upon the situation. The three most common are passive, aggressive, and assertive communication. Passive. You prioritize the needs of others over your own. You go along with what other people want to do. You don't express or make known your own needs or desires. You may find it difficult to say no to someone. You fear people in authority. You cannot stand being criticized. Aggressive. You prioritize your own needs above the needs of others. You're always forcing your point through. You can't stand not getting your own way. You ignore other people and do not listen to their opinions and express his needs. Assertiveness. You try to balance your own needs against the needs of others. You take time to listen to other people's points of view, expressing a preference before negotiating in a polite and constructive fashion. Believing that everyone should have an opportunity to express their needs. You have respect for yourself and respect for other people. Techniques and strategies. You may find it more difficult to communicate in certain situations. For example, at work, with a member of the opposite sex, or with those in authority. It may be helpful to rehearse or role-play different scenarios. This can help you to gain confidence in difficult situations. Here are some helpful tips on being assertive. Communicate succinctly. Maintain appropriate eye contact. Be polite but firm. Keep a calm, relaxed tone of voice and body posture. I statements. You may be unhappy about someone's behavior. It is best to communicate to them how you feel about the situation. This tells the other person how you feel and paves the way for a helpful discussion of the situation. This is different from a you message which attacks or accuses the other person. Imagine this situation: you had cooked a meal several evenings on the run. Each time, your partner or flatmate arrived late and the dinner had been spoiled. Calmly saying, "I get very upset when you arrive late for dinner. I put a lot of energy into making it. I feel that it's a waste if the food is cold or overdone." Rather than, "You're always late for dinner. You're selfish and inconsiderate. You can make your own dinner from now on." Scratched record. This can be useful with strangers when you have a specific task. For example, when taking something back to a shop. It consists simply of repeating your point several times no matter how the other person tries to divert you. Imagine this situation: taking a pair of trousers back to the shop. Customer, "I'd like to return these trousers because they've got a mark on them." Sales assistant, "Well, it's only a small mark. It will probably wash off." Customer, "I'd still like them changed, please." Sales assistant, "We don't have any more of that size in stock." Customer, "I would like a replacement pair, please." Sales assistant, "Okay. We'll reorder them. They should be in by the end of the week." Taking criticism. Listening to criticism is challenging but valuable for self-awareness. Distinguish helpful feedback from insults and repeat comments to ensure understanding. Stand your ground calmly, even if you disagree. Imagine this situation: Person B is trying on a shirt and asks Person A for their opinion. Person A, "You don't suit that shirt at all." Person B, "Okay, there's something you don't like about it." Person A, "The color's wrong for you and the collar's too large." Person B, "You feel it would be better some other color." Person A, "Well, I thought that blue shirt you tried on yesterday looked great. I hope you don't think I'm being too blunt." To unhelpful responses to Person A's first comment could have been, Person B was instead able to simply listen to what Person A said. It was then possible for Person B to find out something useful about their appearance and the shirt. Person B may have gained the respect of Person A for being able to accept their comments. "Yes, I'm a terrible dresser." This is not what Person A said. The comment was about one shirt. It was not about how Person B dresses all the time. 2. What a cheek. "You're no supermodel yourself." This comment is more likely to lead to an argument. Don't forget to subscribe for more educational and engaging content. If you have a topic in mind for our next video, let us know in the comments below. Also, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for updates and more content. See you in the next video.